Greetings, people of the world! Matthew back with you here in Overall Autism for the continuation of Let's Play Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn. It is Year 2, Day 35 for EDSS in the Realm Reborn, and last time we completed the second of the patch 2.3 side dungeons, the hard mode of Stone Vigil, which turned out to be not all that hard at all, as we were able to complete the dungeon within 15 minutes. And so, with that taken care of, it's time for us to go to the last of the patch 2.3 side dungeons. And the starting point for it is back here in Mordona. So, let's make our way inside. And we want to speak with Blozong. And we want to speak with him in regards to this challenge entitled King of the Hull. Blozong has the satisfied look of a man who has found that which he seeks.
You're EDSS by the Onion. I was hoping that you'd come by. I've got a message from an old friend of mine. Needs your help for an important task, he says. It's highly confidential business, so I can't give you his name. Let's just say he's well known in Limsa. Odds are you'll recognize him. Anyway, I'm not at liberty to divulge anymore. If you've a mind to take on the task, head over to Limsa and seek out a bloke named Denston. That's not my friend, mind you, but one of his men.
Alright, we'll take your word for it. So, off we go to Limsa. And since we're going back to the home of the Grand Company to which EDSS is a member of, perhaps it is only fitting that we once again adorn him in the colors of the Maelstrom. So, upon arrival in Limsa, we will go ahead and do just that. Yeah, it's just before dawn here in Limsa. So the person we want to speak to is actually going to be in the upper decks. So let's go over here and warp up to the aft castle, which is the quickest way to get ourselves to where we need to go. Alright, so the person we need to speak with is going to be north of the Drowning Wench. In fact, he's not all that far from it. However, there's a bit of a twist to this particular guy's location. Now, as we approach, you would think he might be in here, but he's not. You might also think he's standing up here, but he's not. So you're wondering, where is the guy? Well, for the astute, there is a little ramp that goes down here. And this is where we want to find Denston. So, we're going to go over in this direction, catch the man at the crack of dawn, in order to speak to him about what Blozong had in interest for us.
Hello there. You're EDSS, sorry. The chief will be pleased that you came. Now time's of the essence, so I'll get straight to business. During your travels, might be as you held of the Tell Mistbeard, the legendary pirate.
Yeah, actually it was a strategy of his that helped us to be able to gain access to and defeat Leviathan.
Hells, I'd be surprised if you hadn't heard of the bloke. Ain't a soul in Limsa as don't know of his exploits. Nary a ship on the five seas was safe from Mistbeard's grasp, not even a golden fleet of Uldar. But one day, at the height of his notoriety, the man vanished without a trace while sailing the Rotano. Since then, rumors spread that Mistbeard left a treasure trove of plunder. Folk believe it's somewhere out there just waiting to be plucked like a ripe fruit. Your task pertains to that treasure. I'll take it over from here, Dunstan. Yeah, this big guy. Chief! Greetings, my friend. It's been a while since you sent Leviathan to the bottom of the Indigo Deep. Before I begin, let me make it clear that I do not request your aid in my capacity as Storm Marshal. Nay, the matter is purely private. Yeah, this is actually the guy that came up with the idea for lashing two ships together to go after Leviathan. With that detail established, I shall continue Denston's tale. For a time, folk had lost interest in Mistbeard's cache, such was its elusiveness. But recent developments have treasure hunters across the realm stirring anew. South of Vilebrand, upon the Rotana Sea, there lies the Salades. Along the fringes of these remote islands, there is an expanse of water into which few ships dare venture. Nature's conspired to perpetually shroud the area in heavy mist. A man can hardly see his own hand in front of him. Be it by accident or intent, countless vessels have entered that mist, never to be seen again. So it's basically the Bermuda Triangle. Over the years, some few survivors have washed ashore with tales of an island hid within. which appeared without warning to smash their ships into flotsam. So it was that the legend of Hullbreaker Isle was born. In the wake of the calamity, however, it came to be that the mist would lift under certain conditions, and as luck would have it, on one such day, a merchantman mistakenly sailed straight into the area. The ship eventually came upon a deserted isle where it was made an astonishing discovery: the Har, Mistbeard's own flagship, lying broken within a cove. Though he yearned to explore the wreck, the captain wisely chose to return to familiar waters before the mist could regather. Upon returning to Limsa, he forbade his crew from revealing the discovery to a single soul. But word inevitably spread, as is often the way of such things. Of course. Even as we speak, treasure hunters are scrambling to find a way to the legendary Hullbreaker Isle that they might claim Mistbeard's cache. I would have you get there before they do, Edie, and retrieve a single object from the Har, a golden coffer bearing Mistbeard's crest. Well, the chief would do the job himself, but his being Stone-Marshal is like to attract unwanted attention. That's why he wants you to go in his stead. So long as you bring back what he asks for, you're welcome to keep whatever else you find. Though I make the request off the record, I must impress upon you that the matter is of grave importance to our nation's future. I shall be praying for your success. Well, thank you very much, Storm Marshal. Yeah, I'd give you a salute, the Maelstrom salute, but obviously the circumstances. Now, no doubt you're wondering how to get to the Isle. I've got the ship moored at the Morabi dry docks. Meet me there when your preparations are over, and I'll ferry you over. Well, we can make our way there right now, actually. So, let's go back to Lower Lanosea. And that's a place that we've actually been to before. I used that location in order to demonstrate guild levies, which are the little mini challenges that you can do where you have to accomplish a certain set of tasks within a set time limit, usually very short. So what we want to do is make our way down towards the docks here at Morabi Dry Docks. And we want to get over, I guess it'll be this side. And there's Denston, waiting for our arrival. Hey there, Denston. Everything in order. Then let's get you over to Hullbreaker Isle before it's a swarm of scavengers. I'll get us there in one piece, never you fear. I've been keeping an eye on the weather, and I know exactly when the mist will clear up. When you arrive, make your way to the wreck of the Har. Mistbeard's coffer is bound to be somewhere inside. That's what Har is supposed to get back to afterwards. I'm sure you'll figure something out. The results will venture on that y'all. I'll be waiting for you in Limsa. And so now we have access to Hullbreaker Isle. And yeah, don't worry, we do have the power of teleportation, which can take us to any Aetherite in Eorzea. So, now that we have Hullbreaker Isle unlocked, let's go ahead and make access events. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I can't be in my uniform for this. I have to actually be in battle gear. Yeah, I would have changed it to battle gear once we arrived at Hullbreaker Isle, but I guess they're not going to let me have it that easy. Whatever. So, we now have access to the queue for Hullbreaker Isle. So, be back with you in a moment once we arrive on its shores. So, nighttime may have fallen, but that doesn't mean that we're going to not light up the excitement here at Hullbreaker Isle. It may be home to a lot of natural freaks of nature, obviously. And yeah, they will be all over this place. So, this land that has not often seen the light in the eyes of man is going to be home to a battleground featuring myself and 3 others. And there we are. Well, it looks like I'm going to be joining a Brother Dragoon for this run. Nice. It looks like they're going to be here for the first time just like I am. Well, let's hope our tank and our healer do the job too. Alright. So we'll see just how we do. Now in this place, one of the first things we're going to need to do, because it's gotten dark, we're going to have to be careful about our footing in the first part, because the first part of this place has been littered with bear traps, and so if you step into one, you take damage, and you also get status afflictions, and you're stunned for a few seconds. So be careful where you're stepping in the first part of Hullbreaker Isle. But our main objective is to defeat 5 of the Sifakas. That, for those of you who do not know what Sifakas are,
You'll find out as we go along. But our tank is ready to lead us out, so here we go. Yeah, the best rule of thumb is to not always follow the path. Don't always walk the main path, because that's where the majority of the traps are located. In fact, if I can get an example, you can see there's one, I don't know if you can actually see from this perspective, there's actually one hiding behind that tree there. So while I'm taking care of the Safakas, we'll let everyone else take care of the remaining enemies. Safakas are the main target, but it's also a good idea to keep an eye on the Salades Hornets, because those things will also be very painful. In fact, they actually have a similar status affliction to those found in the original version of the Sunken Temple of Karn, whereas if you do not kill them fast enough, then they will unleash an ability called Final Sting, which is basically a kamikaze move, which will try and kill you in one shot. And if it fails that, then you will still take a lot of damage. But so far so good. It hasn't made use of Final Sting yet. And you certainly have to admit, the music that we're listening to definitely has that adventurous feel to it, considering where we are. Nice. That's our first wave of enemies down. Now, we don't have to fight every enemy, but of course it all depends on what the tank wants to do. There are instances where if you don't see a Safaka, you can just choose to ignore them. But I guess this tank wants to fight everything. This is a tactic you do not often see here. In fact, this is a very rare tactic. I've never actually seen a tank wants to engage every enemy here on Hullbreak Corral. Most tanks will want to avoid conflict where necessary and only fight groups that include Safakas. So to see this tactic being performed by our tank in this group is very unusual. And so far we're doing a good job of eliminating the first of the Salades Hornets. Oh, well, doesn't matter, we can still use the Dragonfire dive here. It looks like our tank is taking it on the chin here. And I think he's bitten off more than he can chew. He's gonna get killed here. Whoa, I almost bit it there. Yeah, that's some powerful AoE. That is some powerful AoE, and I would do well not to find myself within it. In fact, to be quite honest, I'm shocked I haven't been healed, but of course the priority has to go to the tank, because of course they're the ones that's trying to distract the other enemies so that we can get as much damage as possible in order to eliminate these guys. Well, here comes the Final Sting move, and I do not like the chances of our tank. Nope, unfortunately the Final Sting found its mark and killed the tank. If his HP was probably about 5,000 or 6,000, he likely could have survived that. Unfortunately, that did not turn out to be the case. Yeah, do not take the Salades Hornets lightly. Those things are vicious. So we'll wait for our tank to rejoin us here. Here he comes. Yeah, so I think he's learned his lesson. I don't think he's going to pull as hard as he did before. Yeah, for example, yeah, speaking of... yeah, in fact, there's one there, one there. I mean, is our tank determined to set them all off? Whatever you do, don't go to the right. Do not go to the right. Yeah, because there was another one right there. There was the third. Yeah, I think our tank may be new here, considering that they didn't know where the bear traps were. I'm quite surprised that they weren't immediately aware of them. Even when my brother Dragoon made it a point to point them out. But yeah, it looks like the healer and the Dragoon, my brother Dragoon, are family members here and are working together to help each other. the air. And that's the elimination of another Sepaka. Okay, we still have to get 3 more. Watch where you step. Alright, here's another Sepaka. Oh, and that tank's gonna run right into another bear trap. It's dark out there, so unfortunately, as I mentioned before, we can't necessarily see where these things are. That's why it's always a good idea when you come here to have either the camera overhead, positioned overhead, or positioned at a distance, just so that you can be able to see what's coming. Of course, since our tank is a Lalafell, perhaps it should not come as much of a surprise in the fact that our tank main has a POV, a point of view, that is perhaps at the greatest disadvantage for being here at Hullbreaker Isle. Because from his short stature, he can't necessarily see all the traps in front of him. Because they're, of course, low to the ground, is just like he is. Bring in another Harpia. Yeah, the Harpias, I'd say after the Hornets, the Harpias are the most worrisome enemies to deal with here at Hullbreaker Isle. Because they are the ones that can cause the most damage without having to use an ability like Final Sting. Well, so far so good. The Harpia didn't give us that much trouble. And we've overwhelmed it. Alright. 1 more wave of enemies to go. Now it said on the objective list there on the right that we have to defeat 5 Sepakas, and so here are the final 2. So for those of you who are still wondering what exactly a Sepaka is, it's these little creepy monkeys, is what they are. I don't know if that's what you would call a monkey in real life. Maybe that's a term in an African language for what a monkey is. It could also be considering we're on a remote tropical island, it could also be a Polynesian term for a monkey. It could be the Polynesian name for a monkey, for all I know. I mean, it does sound as much Polynesian as it does African. And finish the deal with the jump. There we go. Alright, so that thing you're seeing running away, that's actually our first mini-boss. And he's going to go and get himself into the ready position. So we're fighting a Sasquatch. I don't know how you get a Sasquatch somewhere in the middle of a tropical island, but who am I to judge? So, we'll wait on our tank to lead us out. So this actually isn't all that hard of a fight, it's just a matter of timing things. So, here we go, fighting the Sasquatch. This will make the Jack Link's beef jerky commercials look like something that you really shouldn't do, but in this case, of course, in this situation, you're encouraged to mess with Sasquatch. Now, from time to time, there will be more Sepakas that will come out onto the field, and the thing is, you actually want to beat these things up, because these things can actually work against you. And in the sense that you may have saw the message, the Sasquatch is hungry and agitated. From time to time, when that message comes up, you have to feed it a bunch of bananas. You see where it's here where it says wild banana tree? There are, I think it's 6 of them, and you have to feed the Sasquatch bananas only when it's hungry and agitated. It comes with a disadvantage though, that every time you do feed it, you see the blue icon underneath the health bar for the Sasquatch. That blue icon means that we have actually buffed the Sasquatch. We haven't actually made it more calm, we've actually made it stronger. Now you're probably wondering why would that necessarily be a problem? Why would we want to do it that way? Well, because the damage from when he goes hungry and agitated, that can stack. So, that can stack because every time you see that red icon go up above my name at the top of the screen, that's the number of stacks that goes against us in terms of damage that gets accumulated. It can do up to 8 stacks at once. And the Sepakas, their main purpose is actually to eat the bananas in order to give you fewer bananas to feed the Sasquatch. So it's actually in your best interest to avoid that problem. Because you only have so many bananas you can feed the Sasquatch. But usually you will not have to worry about this too much. Generally, you can defeat the Sasquatch after feeding him 2 bunches of bananas. After that, I don't think the Safakas return to the field again ever. So, victory is ours over the Sasquatch. Hey, we get something that I can be equipped with, but I'm already equipped with something that's overpowered on that regard, so if my brother Dragoon gets it, old Mort for him. Oh, I got it. Alright. And we didn't need the cooking sherry, because that's something I never need to use. Alright, now we're going spelunking for the second part. So, what we want to do here is we want to find on the objectives list 3 stone tablets. And those stone tablets are found only one way. Well, we'll get to that in a moment as soon as our tank musters up a little more courage. See the treasure chests over here? You see 2 of them over here on the right. You see a 3rd one over on the left. But be careful though. Not every treasure chest contains a treasure. In fact, the majority of the treasure chests in this cave are mimics. Things that look like treasure chests but are actually monsters that can do a lot of damage against you. So be careful, because it is a necessary evil to open up every treasure chest you see, because only the mimics actually contain the stone tablets that we need in order to advance. So that is your main objective in this regard. You don't have a choice but to open every treasure chest, and when you do, you have to get these stone tablets that they possess. Now, not every mimic will have a stone tablet, but it's wise to just go ahead and open all the treasure chests anyway. I mean, hey, it's worth it for the experience and for the guild. And I don't understand why the treasure chests, or why the tank isn't bringing both treasure chests together. Well, now he has. Or did he? Well, yeah, he did. He has, but it just didn't look like it for a while. Okay, yeah, there was a stone tablet that dropped. So we'll pick it up after we finish off this other mimic. And there we go. So our tank will acquire the stone tablets, and we can continue. And so where you want to place the stone tablet is in this oncoming stone pedestal. And it's the only thing that allows you to continue on. So you see, it's the only thing that can open this door. And so now we come up against a new enemy, the Ninki Nanka. Now this thing, it has a unique characteristic to it in the sense that after you damage it a certain amount, it has the ability to spawn more adds by shooting the blue orbs off its back. Those are actually eggs. So if it gets the opportunity to let its eggs spawn, that means you have to fight more enemies. Now, more often than not, it's obviously not going to be a good idea that you do that, but more often than not, if you have people who have the ability to stun, because not every magical or attack ability, warrior or magic class, can stun. So, yeah, it looks like the tank needs to take a breather, so we'll take a breather for a minute as well, and once he comes back, we'll get back to it. Alright, our tank is returned. He's back at his controller, and so now we can continue here at Hullbreaker Isle. So, just like before, we want to open all the treasure chests. And this one actually does contain treasure, which means that the stone tablets we're looking for are going to be in here. One of the two should have them. Well, if nothing else, we get the opportunity to kill both at the same time. It's worth the experience. We're doing quite well. The two Dragoons, as well as our tank and healer. After that early unfortunate situation involving the Hornet, we're doing much better. Of course, the main concern will be when we get to the boss duel. because it's not your average boss. It is definitely a unique one. All right. Here we go after the Ninja Naka number 2. I don't have my stun ability. Thankfully, it didn't go for its axe ability. Which means hopefully we can kill this thing off fast enough. No, we did not. Okay, you saw the blue orbs disappear off of its back, which means there are now Nankas on the field. So we want to kill these things off. Yeah, a few more seconds sooner, I would have had my hatch. As you can see, these things take a lot of damage. They take a lot of damage. A lot more than their Ninki Nanka Mama, if you will. Alright. But yeah, I guess you get a demonstration there on why that happens the way it does. So there's nothing of interest over there. In fact, to be honest, I don't think I've ever been in a group that has ever gone to see what's over in the dead end over there. Because that is a dead end. Oh, Tank, where are you? Come on, man. We need you to lead us. And this is more of an old school run here of what we're getting in regards to enemies taking us a long time to defeat. I mean, we're pretty much, it almost feels like we're in a low-level dungeon run where dungeons can take a long time to clear. Alright, there we go. There's the first snake down. But as you notice, there are more treasure chests to be had, so obviously we're going to have to open them up in order to find our last remaining stone tablet. It looks like my brother Dragoon has the same idea as I have to adopt the fracture ability taken from the Marauder and use it in my own skill set. So that treasure chest actually had treasure, but now we have to find out which one of these two treasure chests, one of these two mimics, actually is carrying this real treasure as far as the stone tablet we require. In the air and splats. And away we go again. More pounding of big, ugly treasure chests that are really treasure chests. Alright, that one had the chest. That one had the stone tablet. I'll pick it up because we're so close to defeating the other one. And there we go. Alright, now across the bridge. As you can see, this time there are 2 stone pedestals, which means 1 tablet for each. I'll place one over here. And my brother Dragoon will place the other one. Okay, on to our second mini-boss. Now this second mini-boss that we're taking on, if you remember back to year 1, this second mini-boss is a lot like the one that we saw as far as the second mini-boss is concerned in Cutter's Cry. And that was a place that featured a sandworm that would burrow underground a lot, and you had to avoid where it was burrowing under in order to avoid taking damage from it. And it had a special ability that it would have a vortex that would suck everyone in and cause a lot of damage. So it's basically the same plates as it was in Cutter's Cry, but this one has a bit of a twist to it in order to make it a little more challenging. Every time you get hit by one of his special abilities, you get hit with a debuff. And so you want to make sure that you avoid those. You also may have noticed those bubbles on the field, and our tank accidentally ran into one. Thing is, you don't want to run into those bubbles because you need those things to survive the boss's special attack. If you don't have enough bubbles for everyone, well, you're either going to be in a situation where you're going to have someone who's going to either take a lot of damage or they will get killed off. Now that's its most devastating ability above ground. So you want to avoid that one. Okay, now it's going to burrow under. Now everyone can only take 1 bubble each. The thing is, you want to time this. You don't want to go in too early that when the bubble bursts, that you pop out and he actually does this vortex, but you don't want to leave it too late that you get pulled into the vortex before you actually get inside. And In this instance, though, we all did it correctly. There was 4 bubbles, 1 for each of us. There are usually more that will pop up, more than you need, so it can easily be possible to wander into one and end up having a situation where you get left out of the action for a brief moment when you weren't intending to do so. Alright, it's gonna go underground again. This time he's going to go in 2 different directions. He's going to go in one direction, then he's going to double back. Just be ready to be on standby once he resurfaces. Now if we're fast enough, we should be able to defeat this mini-boss, Shroom, before he burrows again. It's going to be close. If we can't get him, we'll just redo the last thing we did before. AoE. If we get him? No, we were not able to get him, so we have to go back into a bubble. Alright, let's take this one. Take the one in the corner. Well, he's at the brink anyway, so next time he resurfaces, he'll be dead within a few seconds. In fact, 1 hit is all it takes. You shouldn't have come back! I'm gonna play Greed on this one. Just because I want to give it to my brother Dragoon. In fact, I'm gonna play Greed on the other one too. I'm only gonna take interest in the lesser stuff. We got the Peacock Ore, okay. I don't mind. It's not worth as much as it used to be. In fact, there are a lot of items that up to a few months ago were actually quite valuable, but they're not as valuable anymore. And Peacock Ore is one such item. So now we have the situation where we actually have to drop off this high cliff. So, Geronimo! Yeah, that'll take you, depending on where you land, to everything but 1 point. But depending on other places that you land, you end up taking less damage. Either way, you will have to be healed by your healer to maximum before you continue on. And so now that that's all taken care of, the sun has risen here at Hullbreaker Isle, and we can now start onto the 3rd section. And now we've reached the opposite shore here at Hullbreaker Isle. We've pretty much gone clear across the island, and we've now reached the other side. Hopefully we will soon reach our destination, which is the wreck of the famous ship known as the Har. And nice Dragonfire dive. Yeah, let's take out the salad crabs. Now these guys here aren't the main worry in this section. That actually comes in a moment. So once we get rid of these salad crabs, we'll see what the real threat is. Yeah, take that. And there we go. So, you think our passage is clear? Well, as we get closer, think again. And we now have seawater sprites to deal with, and these things are actually blocking our path now. We can't advance until we get rid of all of them. So, just make sure that you're focusing as fast as you can on getting rid of all of them quickly. And we'll reactivate my Blood for Blood. Yeah, Blood for Blood, for those of you who aren't aware, is definitely one of the most important abilities for any attacking class, any warrior class. Because that will give you a temporary boost of strength that is definitely one of the best summons that you can get in the game. And it is transferable. You can use it across multiple warrior skills, but you have to get it first as a Lancer / Dragoon. Now we have a situation where we go on a set of multiple paths. In this situation, and this is not uncommon, the large majority of players will choose to stick to the right side, because you can face the least intimidating monsters, and the least devastating monsters going this way. As you can see we're fighting a Harpia here, but there are more Harpias if we were to go left as opposed to right. You can see one flying there. Plus a new enemy, the Cyclo Medusa. There are actually more of those if you go left, so... They always say that the Sinister is another term for going to the left, so in this instance, it actually holds true here at Hellbreaker Isle. Now, we'll get rid of this Harpia. Yeah, we will be, by default, have to fight Cyclo Medusa. That we will not have a choice on, but we would have faced more if we went to the left. Regardless of which way you go, it'll all merge towards the same point anyway. All the branching paths will merge to this path here eventually. So which path you pick really is up to you. It's just a matter of deciding whether you want it easier or harder before you get to this merge point. Alright, Cyclo Medusa now. This floating jellyfish-like creature pretty much can do what a jellyfish would normally do when it's underwater, and that's sting you. It does have a special ability that can sting you if it gets it off, numbing tendrils. There are quite a few palette swaps that are like this. When you face them early on in the game, when you go to a place, if you're starting out in Limsa Lominsa, you'll face quite a few of those such enemies. So, this second wave of seawater sprites does the same thing as the first one. It blocks our passage and we cannot continue until we beat all of them. And in fact, this is the last round of defense before our final boss. So it's just basically handle them the same way you did before. I mean, you can basically fight them however you want. They are not much of a threat. All they are meant to do is just block your path, and you're forced to fight them until you get through. We have one more left. And this seawater sprite is gone, which means we now get access to the final boss. And so what will our boss be? Well, we're about to find out. Yes, emerging from the depths of the Rotano are the 8 legs, 8 tentacles, 2 arms, and big ugly face of this Kraken. This is who we're going to be fighting for our final boss. Now this boss is unique in the sense that, unlike every other boss you've faced up to this point, the purpose is not actually to kill it. And am I seeing this right? Yeah, all of our avatars are here for the first time. We're all rookies at this. Wow. So basically what you want to do here is, unlike every other boss that you've fought before, the point is not to kill this boss. All you're doing here is disabling his arms and his tentacles. His 8 arms, his 2 tentacles, and that's it. You'll get 2 arms for each of the 4 little islands that we're on. You can see that they're right over there. So once you get rid of one, go to the other side and get rid of the other. The main points here that you want to do is to not get separated unless you have no choice. Because for a normal boss fight, there are a lot of things that are going to happen here. So what you want to do is, alright, yeah, I guess we're going to follow the tank to the left. Now, whether you go left or right, it really doesn't matter. What matters is, when you see that green teardrop above your head, you want to get away. Unfortunately, since our tank is new and doesn't know this fight, what's going to happen is that he's going to drop a tornado off. He's going to drop a water spout on our platform. Anyone who crosses the path with the water spout will take a significant amount of damage and possibly even get killed. In fact, I believe the Dragoon just had that happen to them. Alright. And watch out for rain, because you can run into that too. But if you run into a geyser, that'll wash it off. That'll wash the ink off. So that's an advantage that you want to take on, and you definitely want to make use of it. Alright, now, once you kill off 5 tentacles, or 5 arms, then you'll start to see tentacles appear. Tentacles fight a lot differently. if anyone gets stunned by a tentacle, they will end up getting not only stunned, but they will get then grabbed by the tentacle and thrown to another part of the field. So you want to avoid that happening. Now here's a situation where it's going to get really dicey. I think the tank may have learned their lesson before and put the water spout in different spots. Or they can just leave it there and move elsewhere. The thing is though, you don't want to run too much, or else you'll leave yourself with a minimum amount of places to be able to make an escape. Alright, here's the... Okay, I got stunned. So, you're about to see a demonstration of what happens when you get stunned by a tentacle. So, I'm going to get grabbed, and I'm going to get thrown to a different island. And on top of that, I got inked. Like I said, just jump into a geyser, it washes off. Oh, really? Let me guess, I jumped right into the water spout, didn't I? That would make perfect sense. Yeah. Well, how was I supposed to know where they went? Well, anyway, we've almost got this arm dead. Okay. It's on the... That green teardrop is on the tank again. Okay, now I have one on me, too. What I want to do is actually get away. Because what you're supposed to do when you get a green teardrop over your head is escape the battlefield. Just escape the platform, go to another one, and let the water spout spawn in a place where it's going to be completely harmless. Do that, you'll be perfectly fine. And we almost have this tentacle down. Alright, that's 9 down. We only need to kill off one more tentacle, and we've cleared Hullbreaker Isle. Unfortunately, I'm going to be getting to these guys in a moment because I got the green teardrop over my head again. And I don't know why the tank followed me here, because he could very well take quite a bit of damage from that. And now it's on the... Okay, now it's on the Dragoon. It's on my brother Dragoon. Now hold still. Okay. Well, I'm going to try and limit break this thing. Come on, limit break it. Limit break it. If I can limit break it, what can typically happen is that I can end the duel now. Which I did. Yeah, the tentacles are not strong enough to endure a limit break. If your character is strong enough and you use the limit break, you can eliminate the tentacle in one shot. But the Kraken will retreat and live to fight another day. And so with that, Hullbreaker Isle, the last of the patch 2.3 side dungeons, is completed. And yeah, we certainly took a beating out there, but ultimately we did prevail, and that's the point of this. So, and we actually arrived back where we started from, so, yeah, we'll go ahead and play for this stuff, why not? None of us can use it, but we might as well play for it. And I ended up getting the potash, too. Oh, wow, I rolled 98, but someone else rolled 99. Hey, it can happen. I've had it happen to me before, so it's not all that uncommon. So it was a bit of a rough run through Hullbreaker Isle, but all 4 of our avatars were here for the first time, so perhaps it shouldn't have been all that surprising that we would have this sort of things happen to us. Nonetheless, with the last of the patch 2.3 side dungeons complete, there is another place that we can get to that was actually part of patch 2.1, but I have not yet shown you guys. But I felt it's necessary to save it until we get to this point, until I had EDSS in a stronger state, in a stronger stats and numbers and whatnot, because what we're going to do next is the first part of a series of dungeons that we have to do that's going to entail a lot of craziness. And it has nothing to do with Agent Hildebrand, but it'll still be crazy nonetheless. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone for watching the continuation of Let's Play Final Fantasy XIV or Realm Reborn. And when I join you again, we will make our way back to Mordona to begin the first part of this epic and crazy journey. So until next time everyone, this is Matthew at Navora Autism, saying take care, and I'll see you soon. Actually, hold on, I can't leave yet. Good to see you back in one piece, and with Mr. Scuffle no less. Let's have a look at it then. Oh, here you go. The lock's still intact, and there's no sign it's been tampered with. You did good, Venturer. The Chief will be right pleased. And speaking of, hey there, Anzar.
And indeed he is. I knew that you wouldn't disappoint me, my friend. You have my gratitude.
So,
now, you're curious as to the contents, I do not doubt. Having risked life and limb to retrieve the coffer, you've more than earned the right to that knowledge. This coffer holds the secret to Mistbeard's identity.
So what's inside?
Menacing, is it not? This mask, my friend, has been worn by all the individuals who have borne the name Mistbeard.
Yeah, if you've ever seen The Princess Bride, you'll know that Wesley, when he takes on the identity of the Dread Pirate Roberts, actually is one such individual who went into that path.
Aye, Mistbeard was not one man, but many. For generations, both name and mask have been inherited by those deemed worthy, and so the legend continued. But now that legend will come to an end, for the last Mistbeard has found a new purpose in life. One woman, and her dream for a brighter future for Limsa. As you know, ours is a nation founded by pirates. It's in a Lominsan's blood to desire to be his own master, to reject authority and take what he wants. Some among us believe that piracy is a time-honored tradition, but so long as we cling to this tradition, we will never know lasting prosperity. These were the woman's words, and Mistbeard saw wisdom in them. He swore to do all in his power to make her dream reality. In the future she envisioned, there is no place for pirate kings, but in the tales of fishwives. And so, Mistbeard has chosen to consign himself and his predecessors to the pages of history.
And so,
this mask symbolizes an obsolete way of life, yet is not without power. Should it fall into the wrong hands, another Mistbeard will arise. Hot-blooded Lominsans will gather to his dread banner, and piracy will continue. The mask will never see the light of day again. On this day, the Pirate King Mistbeard draws his last breath. Dunstan, I trust you know what to do.
Aye, aye, Chief. Given a bit of time, the rumors will be treasure will fade just like the mist clearing. Well, thank you there, Einzar, for that history lesson. And so, that is it. We have now officially completed Hullbreaker Isle, and we have disposed of the chest. Let's speak with Dunstan one last time to validate that that has happened. Aye, who's the last Mistbeard, you ask? 7 hells you're right off the side, ain't he? Me and the Chief was as subtle about-headed as a bleeding sledgehammer. Yeah, I guess, yeah. As long as he doesn't know, neither does anyone else. And so, with that, now we can really truly bring this episode to a close. And so, with that, I'd like to thank everyone for watching the continuation of Let's Play Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn. And next time, we will begin on our epic journey for the first of many bizarre paths. So, until next time everyone, this is Matthew at Navora Autism, saying take care, and I'll see you soon.